Mythos Busters, investigating the mystery, monsters, and madness of Arkham Horror, the card game.
Hello and welcome to episode 139 of Mythos Busters. I'm Sean. Joining me tonight is Ian. Hey, Ian.
Oh, hello.
How are you?
Well, I'm happy to be back.
Yeah.
One of the disadvantages of our new format is, like, usually when you miss a recording, now really you miss 2 recordings.
You're just out for a whole month.
Yeah, so it feels like ages.
Just a whole month.
Yeah. Glad to be back. But what a time to be back. Got lots coming up soon.
Oh, man. It's so exciting.
Yeah.
Isn't it, Justin?
Yeah.
How are you?
I'm good. It's almost like I just saw you an hour or two ago, Sean, in real life.
Sure did. Sure did. And, like, absolutely dismantled my Keyforge deck. Just bink.
Yep, but now we're more on your turf with Arkham. So that's why this friendship works.
I know, because in Arkham you can't beat me. And we have Scott. Hey, Scott.
Hi.
How are you?
I am a little bit tired. That's okay. I woke up at 3:30 for work, so
I mean, also your brain has been going like 3,000 miles an hour talking about Star Wars CCG for the past 48 hours. So like
for the past 48 months. Yeah.
48 months. I mean, fair.
Yeah.
I'm going on 48 quarters, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got the full crew tonight, guys. I'm so excited. It's all of us, and it's all of us because it's a very, very special episode. If you don't know, next week, October 14th and 15th of 2022, we've got Arkham Nights 2022, and we're excited. So we're going to be talking about that in this episode, and then as a part of Arkham Nights 2022, we'll be running a Return to Dunwich Iron Man. So tonight's main topic is going to be running through our prep that we normally do for Iron Man, for specifically Return to Dunwich. But before we get to any of that, guys, what you been playing? What Arkham you got? We've got, a whole ass expansion just came out. Mm-hmm. Anyone dove in yet, like Scrooge McDuck?
I am actually waiting until Arkham Nights to get it because none of my stores here got it. So whatever.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Don't disguise it like a conscious delayed gratification situation.
Although I think it is going to be fun to like go to FFZ and buy it.
Oh my God, Scott just said
open.
Z. Did everyone else catch that? He just said the word Z, the letter Z.
Well, I'm an international man. I know how to translate from Canadian to American. FFZ. And sit down and like open it as if I'm opening, card games of Yonder when we used to have packs and stuff like that. So it's exciting.
I followed a few of the spoilers throughout the season, but I managed to keep a fair few cards unknown to me. So opening that box was a trip. Oh man, it's almost too much to do it all in one sitting, in my humble opinion. But that's for me, who like actually kept it a surprise. I'd imagine not too many people do that.
I looked at all the previews, but I'm pretty new to it. Like I've seen a few talks of different cards and stuff, but like I know there's for sure cards in there I have not seen.
Ooh.
So,
well, yeah, I'll look forward to your commentary then.
Yeah.
Have you been playing anything other than that? Other than waiting.
Still dabbling with the blessed Wendy, and then also tinkering with my Iron Man deck. So I'm doing a Rex deck because we're doing Return to Dunwich. I'm like, you know what? I'm returning to Rex because I have not played him in probably 3 years, I think.
Since Dunwich?
I mean, like, basically once he got tabooed, he just went to the back of the box and just has, like, I think I've dabbled, but I mean, I don't think I've played a campaign with him since he got tabooed. And I'm like, you know what? Let's do a victory lap in Dunwich. So
yeah. I mean, my favorite part of any Dunwich investigator at any given time that I try them is trying to do something fun and different with their 5-card splash. So that's always what I look forward to whenever I'm like, ooh, I'm going to play Jim or I'm going to play Jenny. And then it's always the game of what will I do with the 5 cards?
Was it Kip that we had on where we were trying to convince him on what cards to take in his deck?
Yeah,
that
it was.
episode.
That's a deep cut.
That
yeah,
was.
Yeah. And we were talking about how he took a bunch of like Mystic cards, and I thought I had Slam Dunk cards, and then you're like, but Scott, didn't your Iron Man deck have like all Mystic cards? I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
You'll be happy to know I have 4 out of 5 Mystics for my splash.
I was just gonna say, well, I'm willing to bet that there's some purple in there this time,
Mm-hmm.
'cause it tends to go pretty well with Rex.
Yeah. I'm bringing down the rabbit hole.
Ooh, okay,
Yeah.
all right, okay, I dig.
Yeah.
I dig.
Yeah. We can talk a bit more when we do Iron Man. I'll
Okay.
because I'm fancying this deck. So
All right, all right.
Mm-hmm.
Ian, what's been occupying you?
Haven't been able to play as much Arkham as I would like to, but I did, similarly to you, Sean, like look through all the player cards and was pleasantly surprised that some of them I was unaware of, actually. So those were some nice surprises. Great box. I haven't really played with any of the player cards yet. Some of the Arkham I've played is, once the FAQ and the new Taboo came out, I decided to start a new campaign with the Taboo version of Lola.
Ooh.
So I started a solo Carcosa campaign with Lola.
Oh,
Yeah,
say more.
but I'm having an issue of I don't know, like I'm hesitant to dive into this because then I feel like people sometimes think we're bashing on Lola, but this is totally not Lola bashing, but I find it so hard to how do I put this? Not so much get excited about it, but like when I guess I'm just not excited about the deck because it doesn't feel very focused. Like the Lola decks I've enjoyed is when I did the tarot Lola, because it was, I mean, it's just a clear kind of deck focus. But a lot of times it's like the Dunwich splash times 100, where it's like I can include everything and therefore everything is meaningless and I'm in an existential crisis pretty soon.
Maybe that's why I suck at
Pull up.
God, is that why I suck at Lola? Because I do that with normal investigators too.
It's like such a level of freedom that it's hard to really nail down, like, okay, what exactly does this deck want to do? I'm curious for those who do really enjoy Lola, like, how do you settle on a deck idea for her? Because with other investigators it's pretty easy for me because they kind of point you in certain directions, obviously.
And see, Ian, I just hear that as a problem of theme. You guys know I love theme, and she's an actress. The world is the stage to her. She could do anything. And so you are just experiencing what she experiences as a person. Lean into it.
Makes sense to me.
35 events. Go.
But now that you said that, Justin, then that started making me think of, like, I was tickled that in Scarlet Key's investigator box we got some a few more like clothes. Like
Yes!
there's like the lab coat, and what's the rogue one? Is it like fancy coat or something? I can't remember. Fancy jacket, I don't know. It's something along those lines. But then now I'm like, I should totally have a Lola deck where she's just putting on different clothes. It's gonna be terrible, but it's gonna be, at least it has a fun theme.
Lola in wardrobe.
Yep, there it is. Other than that, I did start a new Innsmouth campaign with Bob and Mark, trying to do like a gunslinger Mark thing, and then Bob, just because I haven't played a bunch. But now that that Scarlet Keys box has come out, I saw that there's some new toys for the gunslinger Mark build. So I do plan on upgrading into those. I'm only past the first scenario. They did really well in Pit of Despair, actually, those two together. It was a good
It's because Gunslinger Mark is a really good deck.
Yeah, for sure. And then when you have Bob helping him to get assets out, because there can be a few pieces to those that, they're a good team. So, but I am looking forward to putting some of those gunslinger toys in there because it's a build that I haven't really explored a lot.
God, I haven't played Mark in forever. Gotta put that on the list.
Yeah. I should probably bring Sniper Mark as a standalone to Nights.
Sure. There's probably balconies in the casino, I assume.
Yeah.
I've played
Sightlines down the
Rainbow Six.
Yeah. There was a casino level.
Wasn't there? Okay, I was checking my memory. That's why there was a question mark at the end of that.
I feel like it was the second Rainbow Six game.
Okay. Yep. Nailed it.
It was reddish color.
Yes.
Anyways.
It definitely had like a clay red color.
Yeah.
Justin, what Arkham you been playing?
I have not been playing Arkham, unfortunately. The time I would have allocated...
You've been making Arkham, baby.
The time I would have allocated toward playing Arkham, I have put toward helping with Arkham Night stuff and prep. So it's a trade-off I will happily make because I'm happy it's going on again. But then I'm really excited that once I'm there, I can finally get back to playing the game.
Yes, very much looking forward to that. And Arkham Nights is... Okay, we'll get there in a minute. So exciting, so exciting. I suppose for my part, I haven't been able to play a whole lot of Arkham, though I did manage. I was dog sitting for my dad a couple hours away, so I was out of my element for a week. I brought my Dunwich Legacy with to do a sample run. I didn't get through Excelsior, unfortunately. But I did manage to get in a solid afternoon's worth of Arkham with Nick and our friend Jake. So we started Return to the Night of the Zealot. And let's see here. So Nick was playing Parallel Roland. Jake was playing Jenny. And I was playing... No, I was playing Parallel Agnes. And we had a really good time with it. And then we did the plan was to kind of play all day. We ended up having to cap a little early, but we ended up throwing in Excelsior because we were going to do a bunch of side scenarios as you do with the Night of the Zealot campaign. And the first time we ran through Excelsior, Scott, was very, very, very reminiscent to our very faded Skids and Daisy run through.
Yeah.
Of yore.
So Nick got hoisted by his own petard. Is that what you're saying?
Oh, we all were hoisted by Nick's petard.
Hashtag worth it.
So we got absolutely, and well, Nick wanted to blame me because I had David Renfield out with one Doom on him, and no one was helping me get Doom off of police officers is the more important point. However, because of Renfield's Doom, we popped a 12-point agenda a turn early. But again, there was like 6 Doom on police officers. It wasn't Renfield's fault. Nick.
Did you pay the full XP cost for that Renfield, Sean?
No. No. Because I don't abuse Renfield. Like, I don't know. You know, all hurt feelings aside, we talked about it a little bit when we talked about the FAQ last time, but I have come to find in talking about it in a wider audience that some people go like really ridiculous with Renfield. I don't think I ever, like, I ride one Doom on him most of the time. He is a cheap stat boost with a drip income that is dependent on how long the agenda is. But some people go nuts and just do weird stuff with him.
The only time I've ever gone crazy with him is just because the scenario put it in my lap. Like when we were playing, Phantom and Carcosa for the Iron Man.
That's right. You had like 6 Doom.
Yeah, because the scenario just like doesn't, let you advance it. It does the opposite. Obviously, it stops you from getting to what you want to do, but you can just kind of control that, and until you need to really advance, you can just pile up the Doom. So that's when I had like Safina at like 20 something resources or whatever. But again, that's kind of like scenario specific, but I've never actually like built a deck to break Renfield. I'm sure it's very possible and even more possible now, but
oh yeah,
I didn't even realize it was possible because I've only ever really seen Sean play him, and can confirm I've never seen it abused. I thought he was just hey, he's there. Great. It's part of the deck. And then hearing some of these other stories come out, I'm like, oh my God, you did what?
It very
Yeah,
much
I mean-
reminds me of what's the Survivor asset? I'm having the disease of can't remember card names right now too.
The Scott disease, yeah.
You're just gonna have to give me more than that,
Scott
though.
disease, where you increase the difficulty of the task.
Drawing
in order
thin.
Drawing thin. I have the same experience as you with that card, where I would use it. I would use it, but I never like. It's a very abusable card, but I never personally did it because I just used it as like a little thing you use here and there. So when it was eventually tabooed, like I saw the need for it, but it's like never something that really I got any crazy uses out of.
I felt the same way, Ian. Like, that was a card I used as just like I'm going to fail this test anyways. Okay.
Yeah.
But I guess the whole thing was people were putting track shoes in their deck just to have a test to fail every turn.
Yeah,
It's super easy to abuse that one.
Yeah.
A recourseless test. That makes a difference. But anyway, I definitely wanted to set the record straight while Nick is not here to challenge my view on it. It was the police that broke the agenda, not Renfield. But luckily, that scenario is the first time I've ever done it. I think I can't remember if we did it with Skids and Daisy, but you can just like replay it afterward.
We did, yeah.
Oh, we did. Okay.
Yeah. Like
Great.
that night.
Love that.
Yeah.
Love that. Fantastic, because we got off to a much better start. We maintained control of the board. The police officers still like did their thing, but much better run. So yeah, had a really good time. So anyway, let's talk about a little bit of, let's see here. What do we want to do? Arkham Nights?
Well, let's do...
Okay, here. Let's do a couple of reminders. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So, one thing I want to throw out, we aren't going to do any voicemail messages or Hotmail. God, I did it again. Voicemail messages this week. However, I do want to remind everyone that if you have a comment, question, discussion topic, any of the above, you can always call the Mythos Busters hotline at 203-493-6984. And in particular, right now, we are looking for your house rules. We're going to do an episode at some point in the future where we discuss the different house rules that we use. And we'd love to include a menagerie of different household rules from among our listeners. So if you have one, please call it in. Or if you prefer text, go ahead and write it into mythosbusterspod@gmail.com. Though, you know, we love to hear your beautiful voices too. So. Yep, so we've received a few already, but definitely keep them coming, guys. They've been interesting so far. All right, let's run through some patron stuff. Ian, what's going on with patrons?
Feels like ages since I've been able to do this. Thanks to our board members, that's Chris B, Chris H, Chris M, and Chris U, our conglomeration of Chris's, Morton, Jared, Ian, Kyle, Philip, Patrick, Abilio, Jesse, Chad, and Robert. Thanks so much for your huge support of the podcast. And we got a special shout out to a random patron this time is to SoCal Steve. Thanks, SoCal Steve. Not to be confused with NorCal Steve. That's a totally different Steve.
That's right.
Yeah, thanks so much. As always, check out mythosmerch.com because we're always adding new merch, and just over time we've gotten stories of people encountering our merch in the wild, which is my personal favorite, and I know we all get a big joy out of that. So send us any pictures or stories of you encountering Mythos merch out there in the wild. I know recently someone was mentioning they were at a festival, I think, and saw someone with a Mythos Buster sticker on their water bottle, which is blows my mind a little bit, but I love it. And finally, we have some new job titles to give out. We have exactly 4, so we'll just go around the horn here and take turns. Let's start off with Sean. Why don't you read the first one there?
Well, everyone, I'd like you to welcome Carlos Earhart, or Earhart. Not quite sure. Carlos, let me know. He will be the new director of Scarlet Locks and Lockpicking. Because, you know, we don't have Scarlet Keys yet.
We have the keys, but not the locks, right?
Well, somewhere around
Not
there.
sure how that works, yeah. Justin, why don't you read the next one?
All right. Second one is Josh Marsh, who will now be our flannel procurement specialist.
That's important.
Silas approves.
Yeah.
Shirt.
We are.
That's a
gallivanting around the
full-time
world,
job.
so-
Just to keep Silas supplied with flannels, like a full-time job.
He keeps,
I mean,
he keeps
look,
throwing them off.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
This used to be one of my favorite duties, guys, but like I had like so much on my plate, I had to give it up, and I know Josh is going to do a great job.
Yeah. Oh no! Sorry, Silas. I wasn't able to find you more flannel. Guess you'll have to go shirtless. Oh no.
Oh no.
What does
it's
your
very,
tattoo say?
it's very important that the flannel shirts are breakaway too, for some reason. So,
Yeah.
I mean, all flannel shirts are breakaway if you've got enough chutzpah.
Good point. Scott, why don't you read the next one?
All right, Darren Clow. We're gonna get you to be the lead blow dryer, Elder Thing defrosting division. We found quite a few before heading out to the Scout Keys, and probably need to get these things unfrozen and sorted. So.
And sent across the map, I think. Right, that's what we do in the Scarlet Keys. That's the story, right?
Yes.
I think so, yeah.
Checks out.
And finally, we have Alex Slepak is going to be the customizable card level adjudicator. Making sure those customizable cards have the right level.
Just dividing everything by 2.
It's harder than it sounds. It really is.
We are probably going to have to create a Mythos Busters branded calculator and send it their way.
Yep. It only goes up to 10 though. The world's worst calculator.
We will get a Mythos Busters branded abacus.
Abacus, yeah, exactly.
With a single line of beads.
Oh my.
I mean, now I kind of, we joke, but I kind of want it.
Yeah.
It's just a set of plastic hands with 10 fingers.
Yeah.
Wow.
Accidentally sent a Newton's cradle. This is useless.
Click, click. It just keeps giving me 1. 1. Wow, that was a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Well, welcome all to all of you newbies, and thank you for your support. Those we really appreciate all you patrons, of course. Scott, what do we got going on for news?
Oh boy. I don't know if you guys heard, but the Scarlet Keys Investigator box is now out. So you can go get that. Marvel Mutant Genesis. I'm just kidding. That's also out. And a bunch of packs and stuff. But Scarlet Keys is out. Let's see. Is there any other important news? Let's see. There was a small just a tiny little article came out today. There is a new standalone scenario, Fortune and Folly, about a heist in a casino in Monte Carlo. Seems really cool. Lots of neat mechanics, lots of gambling, it appears, on locations. Would anyone else here like to talk about this? Anyone have any more? Ian, would you like to?
Why?
Would anyone here like to have worked on this?
Did anyone else design this here?
That seems like a very cool scenario to design. Yeah.
I thought our last designer got hired by FFG, so we need a new.
Our allies grow few, Gandalf. Our numbers dwindle.
So anyways, Ian designed this scenario.
Our designers keep going into the west.
Yes. Ian.
Yeah,
This is your baby.
It really is. I'm so excited that this is finally announced. There's always like a long period of time when you design something, like a long delay till when it's finally submitted and when it actually gets announced. So I've just been like waiting and waiting. So finally announced. I'm super excited for people to play it. I'm not going to say too much about it now because instead I'm going to plug that we are hosting a developer panel at Arkham Nights where there will be lots of talk about Fortune and Folly. So
You mean we are hosting a developer panel and you're busy being on it?
Yeah, easy
Yeah,
there,
so
participant Ian.
So I don't want to steal the thunder too much from that. But yeah, it pretty much a dream can come true to get to design this, and especially to do like a heist focused scenario. Yeah.
Ian,
So,
I can't
I'm
wait
excited.
until we get to Arkham Knights and we get you a copy of it. We're going to take a picture right away and then compare what glee on your face looks like compared to when Nick got Excelsior, just because you two have such differing styles of emoting. And I can't wait to do the side by
This is
side.
very
of it.
true. This is very true.
Okay, I'm sorry. Related to that, though, one of my favorite moments of the past month has been just a random DM I got from Nick. No, he did it in the group chat. He did it in our group chat. And he's like, guys, why the fuck is my face on Arkham Knights right now?
Oh yeah.
His picture is still on like the front page of the Arkham Knights event on the Game Center website.
Yeah.
And we kind of forgot to tell him that they asked.
Yeah.
Whoopsie.
So back to this scenario. A few neat things. I'm going to talk about this as if I know a lot more than Ian, but I really don't. So 1 to 4 scenarios, or 1 to 4 investigators, of course. It is a side story. It can be inserted into a campaign as a side story. It even has a couple extra features if used as a side story in the Scarlet Keys campaign.
What?
Yeah.
Campaign coordination.
It's almost like they planned it together. Maybe. It's like Ian talked to a dev at
Oh
MG.
no. That's,
Yeah.
I'm very excited for us, but that makes me a little sad for people who have to wait until I don't
Arkham
know
Knights.
whenever the release the retail release for this is. I mean, whatever. We don't even have the campaign yet, so who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe they do come out together.
I think my favorite sentence in this entire article is, like any good heist story, this scenario has 2 main phases, planning and reconnaissance, and the heist itself. In this way, this means Fortune and Folly has 2 scenarios in one. 2 scenarios in one.
Accurate assessment, Ian, or an oversell?
You'll just have to see.
Son of a bitch.
So it does talk about, it says, like, in the first half, you and your fellow investigators gather information, explore the casino. There are a number of ways you can conduct this heist, several tasks you have to complete. And then
Guys,
there's a
there are
bunch of-
poker cards. There are poker
Yeah.
cards on the Arkham cards. I'm sorry, Scott. I just
Yes.
needed to say it. It's like it's breaking my brain every time I see these.
So, like, I'll read off, like, they show 2 locations, and I'll kind of read off the mechanics on them real quick. So, like, I don't know, slight spoilers, but it's just 2 locations, and they're in the article anyways, full pictures. Roulette wheel has an action, spend 1 resource, name a color and a rank. Then discard the top card of the encounter deck and check its game icon. If it matches the named color and rank, gain 5 resources. So if you can call the card on top of the deck, Gloria, Alyssa, you can make lots of money. Or slot machines action, spend 1 resource, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck, and check their game icons. If all 3 cards have the same suit or same rank, gain 3 resources. So, I think that's super cool. That they're using little cards up top. Like, I'm super excited.
Is rank like value, just like
Yes,
straight
yes.
value?
Yeah,
So,
like King, Queen, Jack, 10, 9, 8 is rank.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that doesn't seem. I suppose it's only 1 resource, which is the thing, but that doesn't seem like it'd be that likely to happen. Or
Yeah,
do
I think-
do I not understand hypogeometrics?
I mean,
What are the odds on that? I suppose we'd have to know.
there's only 4 suits. So,
That's the question. Yeah, okay. Riverman asked in chat, like, is it a full deck of cards? Do we have a full 52? Because then anyone who's like super into gambling is actually going to be able to have a little bit of an advantage here.
I would assume, unless the encounter deck is 52 cards, which seems like
That's
a
a
lot.
meaty ass
Yeah.
encounter
Yeah.
deck.
And I don't want to ask Ian because I know he has to probably keep his mouth shut. So
I'm just sitting here chewing on my tongue right now. Just have to remain silent.
Ian, could we do like the Price is Right mountain climber game? Like we keep going, and you tell us when we fall off the cliff for how many there are.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, like, so roulette wheel. I mean, if you get Gloria and Alyssa, like, you just look at the top two, and then you can spend a resource, get 5 resources, spend a resource, get 5 resources. Seems good. So, but I mean, that's also just Gloria doing Gloria things. Yeah, it sounds awesome. Like everything else in this article, go read it, go look at the pictures and the cards and stuff like that. It looks fantastic. So, yeah.
So
The one thing I'll say is just that, as people can see in the article, the art is amazing for this scenario. Once you get to look through it all, I mean, it always is, but like, and I'm probably biased, obviously, getting to see my what was in my head get translated, but and also like the graphic designers, FFG did a great job like creating those game icons. It looks so cool. Somewhat unobtrusive, so like it's not gonna block the things you need to know on the card, but it's perfect. I'm happy.
Yes, yeah, it fits. Like it's in the top left corner. It just takes up some dead space that was there. You know, like that. Looks good. And Xylo in chat. Gloria is one of those old retired ladies who lives at the slots.
absolutely,
Accurate.
she is.
Ian, can I ask you? Did you get to take part in the art direction? Like, did you get to write briefs? Like,
short answer, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got to be a part of that whole process.
Right. Cool.
And if you'd like to hear more about that,
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
That's Ian's way of saying, "Stop asking me questions until it's officially released."
Yeah. All right.
Fine.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's then move it on to our main topic tonight because it's a two-parter in and of itself. So, guys, let's talk Arkham Nights. Justin, as you have been by far the most involved in the logistics of all of this, I would love it if you would kind of walk us through what's going on.
Yeah. So, Arkham Nights 2022 is happening. It is going to be at the Game Center in Roseville, Minnesota, formerly the FFG Game Center, in case anyone hasn't heard us talk about it before. It's going to be on October 14th through the 16th. So by the time this comes out, which we're hoping to do a tight turn to give everybody about a week to listen to it before Arkham Nights hits, but it's going to be here real quick. Be a good time. The difference this year, as far as we know, is that in the past, when FFG owned the Game Center, it was a fully FFG event. Now that the Game Center is the one throwing the event in collaboration with FFG, they're expanding the focus of it a little more. So it's not... The overall theme is anything in the Arkham Files games, but instead of just official FFG events, they really are opening the doors to a bunch of other fan events, fan content. For example, for us in the past, anytime we have been there, we've run Iron Man, and it's been great. We've had great participation, but it's been just purely something we have put together, and we were it was from participants, but not officially sanctioned. This year, absolutely it is. We're going to have reserved space. It's going to be one of the main things that's happening on Saturday. So it's a slightly different vibe to it overall. And I'm not sure if that's good, bad, neutral, but it is a change for anyone who's been before. The Game Center staff has been delightful to work with. So I'm very hopeful that it's going to be great. Bunch of other cool events going on. It's not just Iron Man from us. I'm trying to actually open my web browser that has everything because I know that they've already sold out of tickets, so things are filling up, which is great. I'll wait. Some others can run through ours, but there's things like the coloring contest, costume contest. They do have FFG designers there playing some of the games. like Arkham Horror 3rd Edition, Unfathomable. I think Mansions of Madness is not with the designers, but there's a special board people are playing on, things like that. So it's going to be awesome. Like I said, they sold out, so it's going to be, I think, 200 plus people there. Should be a good time.
Yes. Oh. And I was worried that, because, you know, I don't think too many of us are ready to call us, like, post-pandemic definitely yet. Like, sometimes I'm throwing that phrase out there. Sometimes I feel a little bit weird about throwing that phrase out there. Anyone else? Just me?
Every time I do it, I put my air quotes around it.
Yeah. Like, I have to check myself somehow.
It's pushing my glasses up here. It's not. It's we're moving into the endemic phase. So the pandemic may be over, but the endemic is here, and that is something to still consider. So
Sure.
And that's
Take that
the
as you will.
sequel to the board game or an expansion.
it's the legacy game, actually.
It'd be the most boring one to play. It would all just be convincing people to get vaccines and no one doing it.
Yeah.
Oh,
we're
wait.
we're in the endemic of influenza, for example. It's going to be here for the rest of our lives. That's what endemic is. It's just
Endemic Legacy. Gotcha. I
Yeah.
will look for that on store shelves.
No, don't look at don't find it. You don't want it.
Yeah.
All right. Anyways.
Anyway, my point being that I was kind of worried that, you know, still being somewhat adjacent to the pandemic, that, you know, this was going to feel a little bit lackluster. But the fact that it's sold out is crazy. I think a big part of that is due to the fact that, you know, people were actually given notice.
Yeah.
That helps.
It's good.
But man, I just am so stoked to see people in person, and it's fun to see all the chatter and like games coming together. And I personally have not experienced this energy in a while, and it made me realize how special it is to me. So very much looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's making me doubly excited for BusterCon next year. I don't want to jump too far into that because we've got to get some announcements out there. We're planning to do that after Arkham Nights is done. But seeing how well things are coming together, seeing the awesome space now that it's been renovated, this is going to be great. And then we're going to have another great convention next year too.
Yep. So as far as what we're doing, let's talk about that. So Friday, I think, is just kind of mostly free play, right? Until later in the evening, like when the place opens.
Is that what the panel is?
Well, yeah. Okay. So
Sorry.
later
Right.
in the night, we will be hosting that designer panel. I think we're gonna try to record it. It's gonna depend on where they put us and like what the whole thing sounds like. It might end up being impossible to record, but if we can record it, we will, and we'll release it to you guys. But for those of you attending in person, we hope to see you there. It's gonna be a really good time. Saturday, of course, leads us to Iron Man. If you haven't signed up yet, our lead cultist and next of kin notifier, Josh, has been very, very gracious with latecomers. So don't worry about it. Go to our website. Where's that link hosted?
So it will be in the show notes for anyone listening to this. Otherwise,
Yes.
we do have our main Iron Man page on our website. If you just search Arkham Horror Iron Man, we are the main result there. You can sign up through there. The sooner you can sign up, the better. If it gets down to it, I mean, we're still happy to have everyone play. As of right now, about a week out, we're at something like 90% at capacity for the official space for it. But there is still space at the game center. So if you're going to be there, you can still play. It's not like if you don't have a ticket, you can't. So yeah. Please still, sign up if you're interested. If we need to just figure out some other areas for people to play in, that's great. If you aren't going to be at Arkham Nights, but you want to get in on Iron Man, there's always a virtual component to Iron Man, and we can try and pair you up with other people who are playing along at home, because it's not just playing at the table and shouting when bad things happen. We're all posting in Discord when we're completing scenarios, giving a rundown of what's happening. So either in the show notes or on our website, and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Sign up, get your plans in, bring some decks. I'm excited. And I haven't played Dunwich in a good long while, aside from, you know, the first 3 scenarios, as I just mentioned.
I've only ever played Dunwich once, so I'm real excited to play it Iron Man style years later.
Yeah, and the return to just
Yeah.
Yep.
so. And we're also gonna be doing the drawing of the weaknesses live, so we walking from table to table, letting people.
It's been so long.
Yeah, letting people draw their weaknesses and shout out if they are cowards and reject their fate. I think that's my favorite part.
I think the last time we actually got to do it was when we got that classic picture of Ian.
Yep.
Yeah. Amnesia feels.
Amnesia feels. They're real.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I think that leads us then to Sunday. And the only thing we have planned is that we will be doing a playthrough of our custom scenario. If everyone enjoys Fortune and Folly, you get to see a little bit of Ian's erstwhile work at Consternation on the Constellation. So anyone who is interested in that can come and play along with us on Sunday.
And a quick
have
follow
copies.
up note on that is we are planning to have copies.
Yes.
But if anyone
yes.
does happen to have a copy already and you have room, it wouldn't hurt if you bring it along. On the off chance something falls through there, we will make it work no matter what. But if you have one, doesn't hurt to bring it too.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
So kind of moving from schedule stuff, do we want to talk a little bit about like the experience of Arkham Nights for those who haven't been?
Yeah.
Did we do that last time?
We can
should do
skim
that.
over it.
We should do that this
It's
time.
very friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Like everyone's happy to be there, and I found that like if you're a person who's even going solo there, and you're walking around and you see people like setting up for a game and they have an empty chair. Like honestly, the amount of times that I've been setting up for like a 2 or 3 player game at an Arkham Nights, and someone just comes along and like, "Hey guys, you need a fourth?" We're like, "Hell yeah, we do!" And just like, "What deck do you have?" And we just come on down, sit down, and people are constantly playing games with each other.
Yeah, the vibe is so good. Like,
Yeah.
where else do you get to be like super, super, super nerdy about Arkham Horror, the card game?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
And,
and the
like-
other thing about that I've always liked about Arkham Nights is that compared to like a huge convention like let's say Gen Con, like obviously this is a million times smaller.
Slightly smaller than Gen Con.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just a scooch.
But the reason I bring it up is because it's just, everything is in the same place. Everyone is kind of there for the same thing. In terms of like Mythos related games, they might be focusing on different games, but there's usually a heavy focus on the LCG, obviously, because it's such a popular game in the Arkham Files universe. So yeah, I've just always enjoyed that. Like everything is there. They got food there. You don't have to go far to find your next game, and that's something I've always really enjoyed about Arkham Nights.
I would suggest you bring at least probably 2 standalone decks. Sometimes, like, ideally, I would say 3. Like, you want a Clover, a Killer, and like a Flexi person, maybe. Like, I mean, by all means, bring 8 if you want. But I'd bring like at least 2. 2 is a good number. If you have a Cluey deck and a Killer deck, you can sit down with any group, and between the 4 of you, you can figure out a team that'll work. And oh yes, thank you, Big Kahuna. Bring scenarios too. Bring your favorite scenarios. Bring some from the middle of campaigns. Like, how often do we use the standalone rules from campaigns scenarios?
Yeah,
Like,
bring Depths of Yoth.
yeah,
Bring the Pallid Mask. Bring any of those scenarios that are just kind of like fun on their own,
yeah.
Yep.
which, I guess is most of them, but
Bring horror and high gear.
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. The other thing I like to do is if you're like me and traveling by plane and can't take a bunch of cards, I do still a lot of times like to, and this isn't mandatory, but I do sometimes like to just take along some of the cards that I know are just good cards to swap into a deck for whatever reason. Because like the scenario you're gonna play, or maybe you got to replace an ally because someone else at your table is going to use it. Just stuff like that. So it doesn't have to be a ton of cards, but I usually just bring some of the cards that I know are just like, maybe not even staples, but just cards that I know I like to use.
A sideboard.
Yeah,
Bring a sideboard,
exactly.
yeah. Especially about the allies too. That's key.
Mm-hmm.
Is like if you have a deck that runs on like has specific unique allies, maybe pack a couple spare allies, either other uniques or non-uniques that you can like quickly before the game, like, hey, is anyone using Milan or Madame LeBron or whatever? So she's now Madame LeBron to me
Okay.
Yeah.
because of the meme.
That took my brain a second. I was like, oh, he's doing the meme.
Yeah, Madame LeBranche.
Madame Labranche. The other thing I would say is bring a water bottle. Stay hydrated. Keep that brain lubricated, y'all.
Wet
And
brain.
you're not technically supposed to bring food in, but no one's gonna notice like a snack bar or something to keep it going. Sometimes it's not always a good time to go grab food, and you want to continue the game. And no one likes a hangry compatriot. So just take care of yourself, really.
The kitchen is really good though. Like the food is like good. Don't think it's like McDonald's greasy something. It's
It's a kitchen.
yeah.
There's actual cooking that takes place.
Yeah, what you're saying, Skies, it is good for where it is, and it is a game store. It is a game space.
Yes.
So that's not meant to be a slight to it, but yeah, it's quite good for what it is.
To me, like, how do I put this in a like? It reminds me of. Do you guys have Moxie's down there? The restaurant Moxie's. No,
Not that I know of.
or like I guess Applebee's would be similar. It's like
Sure.
one of those like chain family restaurants. Like
Yes.
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
about that.
Yep.
Which yeah.
And the other thing is, if it's been a couple years since you've been there, the game Zenter under the new ownership has actually changed some things and added some new and renovated, so it looks a little different than it did before in a good way.
Yeah, it's massive now.
Yeah.
They
it's
took
very
over the next stall of building or whatever in the strip they're in.
That was all office space,
Yeah. So
and it's not anymore.
nope. Now
I'm
it's
sure
gaming
some of it
space.
is, but
We are
it's really,
also
really
going
cool.
to have a challenge scenario similar to Depths of Yoth, or how low can you go? It's horror in higher gears, which is why I mentioned bringing horror in high gear. So it's going to be basically a standalone version of horror in high gear. That is, we're going to adjust the rules slightly so that there is no endpoint. You just drive until you die. So very Fast and Furious style, except, it's not about family. It's about getting as far as you can. So,
wow.
it's always about family, Scott.
yeah. right, yes. The family of
I fell
Arkham
off
games.
after the first one in that movie.
I think I saw the first 6 in theaters because it was such a train
Oh,
wreck. I
wow.
couldn't look away.
I think I've only seen the first one in Tokyo Drift, and that's it.
Tokyo Drift, what a special one.
Tokyo Drift
Yeah.
has the best theme song. But
Mm.
so yeah, bring horror in higher gears. Let me put a Z at the end. And I'm kind of still hammering out the rules, but it's going to be pretty simple.
3
Basically-
horror, 5 gears.
Yeah. The one rule that we have decided for it is barricade is banned. You cannot play barricade because if you brought it, it would not function. It just, yeah.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm excited to try that one out.
Live my life a quarter mile at a time. Yeah, I'm excited to try
Oh
it too.
my god.
So,
Oh my god, I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
Yeah.
That's great.
I think they should have just continued the Too Fast, Too Furious and just 8 Fast, 8 Furious, 9 Fast, 9 Furious.
I mean, we almost got there.
Well, then once they hit 10, they can start going 1 Fast, 0 Furious, 1 Fast, 1 Furious, 1 Fast, 2 Furious. You know what I mean? And just start counting up. Once they hit 100, though, then you're
Yeah, where were you 8 years ago?
not in Hollywood.
Yeah, I guess.
My talent has been wasted, squandered.
So yeah, so you know, continuing to talk about Arkham Knights. I know we've said it, but just sink in because it's a really good time. Make friends, say hi to us if you see us.
Yeah.
It's really fun to meet people. It's a thing I enjoy.
Have we mentioned the Discord channel?
Oh, no, we haven't. Thank you. So join our Discord because we're going to have a specific Arkham Knights dedicated channel. It's called Arkham Knights 2022, believe it or not, where people can communicate and say, hey, I'm here. Anyone want a game? Coordinate ahead of time, any of those things. And then okay, so for real, let's talk for a minute. I'm going to keep it real with you guys. My favorite part, the most useful part of the con-specific channels that we always make is that, like, the 24 to 48 hours after everyone goes home, there's a real slump that hits coming down from all of that. It's definitely kind of a con hangover of sorts, and everyone kind of talks about it and says, hey, and thanks, and your deck was cool, and it was really cool meeting you, and it's just kind of a nice little bit of aftercare in the come down that I'd recommend for anyone who thinks that sounds nice.
It does sound nice.
It is nice.
It's real fun with, hey, I played this game with you. What was in that deck? And then you see the deck list get sent.
Yeah.
Or, hey, I have this random card. Whose was it? Let me get it sent to you. And
It's just the best place to debrief.
side note, speaking of the lost cards, Ian and I are finally going to correct our mistake because I mistakenly left one of my Excelsior cards in his deck when that released, and we have seen each other, 2 if not 3 times since then, Ian? And he has forgotten it. I have forgotten to remind him. Then we have both remembered, but then forgotten by the time that we're actually seeing each other. But this is the year, you guys. This is the year of lost card return.
When it finally
This
happens.
is your year.
Yeah, I believe in us, Ian. I believe in us, Ian.
It's sitting in my quiver right now, so
I know. I just,
it's waiting for its moment.
I just worry by the next time we talk, the story will be, well, we got busy, forgot to take it out of the quiver.
Justin is quivering with excitement.
The chances of that happening are not 0, so let's all remember.
Well, right. No, it's Ian and I have been joking in our private chat of, well, we're going to both forget, but at least we got a story.
That's right.
And my wife got me a quiver for my birthday this year, so now I can join the quiver family. So
I love my quiver dearly, but I'm really sad that there's like a resplendent royal purple one that's released because I was in on like the initial run when it was black or nothing.
I got red.
Yeah. You know, if I had it to do over again, I'd get that purple one. It's very
Candy
pretty.
apple red, man. Candy apple red.
I have several quivers by this point. So.
I mean, I'm actually surprised I only own the one. There's plenty of legitimate reason to own more than one.
Yes, Phileon, we are going to touch quivers. Of course. It's tradition. Yeah.
All right. So if you have any questions about Arkham Knights, feel free to send them to us at our Gmail, mythosbusterspod@gmail.com. Or even better, if you want like the collective to answer, hop into our Discord. As I mentioned, Arkham Knights 2022. The hype is real and everyone's getting super excited. We're counting down. It's a week. It's just a week.
So close.
Yeah. The best place is probably, if you need like live answers, is our Discord, because that channel is bopping already.
Yeah.
So
super active.
like we check our email probably once a day, but like if you want like an answer in 30 seconds or less, join the Discord. So
I just have one quick follow up on one of your earlier points, Sean. Then I'll let you move it on. But you mentioned that people should stop by and say hi to us if they see us, and I want to reiterate that is not just Sean being polite and saying the thing you say. We really do. We would love to talk to you, hang out, come find us. If it's in the middle of Iron Man, we might not be as focused on any conversation, but we don't all get to see everybody in person that often. So please, it's not just niceties. Let's connect.
And even if it is Iron Man, like, come say hi. We will say hi. We just won't like necessarily have 10 minutes to chat.
Right.
But
Might not be the most in-depth conversation
Yeah.
anyone's ever had.
if that's the only chance, come say hi. So I love.
But yeah,
putting,
that is absolute.
I
Oh, go
love
ahead.
putting faces to Discord names.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
like,
just gonna say that's definitely not lip service. I love meeting people. So
and then you
I
get to
lo-
like even 10 minutes with somebody, you get to learn their personality, and then when I go to chat with them on Discord again, I'm like, oh, like
Now I
I can
know.
like I can feel what they're saying through their words, you know? Like it's different. So
My favorite is when people don't quite place how we look, or for example, my height. That's a fun thing. Anyway, come say hi.
it happens in person, but then also like every so often when we post a YouTube video that has our faces in it, we'll get the comment, "You guys look nothing like what we thought, or nothing like what I thought you'd look like." It's like, wow, what did you think we look like? Because we just look like a bunch of nerds, and that's what we are. But yeah. Anyway, so Scott,
That's me.
I hear next Saturday we're going to be playing through the entire Return to the Dunwich Legacy
we are
in
I
a
just wanted-
single day, even.
Did we make a mistake going
Dunwich Legacy.
Going Dunwich, yeah.
Well, that ship has sailed.
Yeah. So it was really interesting doing this this Iron Man prep because, well, there wasn't much. I mean it's Dunwich, right? Like it was the first campaign. It was designed before the game was out, and so the amount of choices and story beats and things like that, like, still a great campaign, especially the Return to, I think, gives it a lot of life, and also like a lot of the Return 2s, it fixes a few things, like the locations and where Doom awaits, which anytime I'm talking to someone new, I'm like, by the way, like, here's what they changed Return to. You can just change it in your game. It's better, right? Like, I see that advice all the time. Like, it's just, here's the one house rule that everyone should just change.
Here's what they meant to do.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it was still fun going through it, but I mean, I did this in a couple hours as opposed to, goodness, our last one that we just did, Dream Eaters, which took many hours to kind of like fish through all the different like things we can do and where to get the most XP and all this stuff. And do we want to go over decks first and just quickly chat about what we're bringing?
I think so.
Sure.
I can
Well,
go
you already gave us a teaser earlier, so go ahead and finish us off here.
So I mean, I'm doing Rex Murphy, Taboo, of course, because I'm not a dirty cheater. Kind of. So I'm doing Down the Rabbit Hole Rex. So I took In the Thick of It to grab 2 Eon charts, and what else I grabbed? Death 13. And now I'm going to have Down the Rabbit Hole to basically give me tons of XP throughout the campaign. Rex has a bunch of upgradable cards. So I have Archaic Glyphs is the Seeker side quest I'm going with. And the whole idea behind this Rex deck is I talk to you guys and I'm like, okay, if I'm going to be the clue person, which I often am, I've noticed with Iron Man.
Well, yeah, you enjoy like squeezing efficiency, and that's the
true.
role
Yep.
for it.
Yep, exactly. I'm like, can I just go full clue, right? Like, no defensive anything in this deck. Someone's going to be with me to take enemies off, but I am just going to be absolutely hoovering clues. And you guys said, go ahead. So I'm doing Archaic Glyphs, and I'm going to get the one where you upgrade it, and it's like for every 2 you pass by, you get another clue.
The stones.
Yep, I got fingerprint kits, I got magnifying glasses, Dr. Christopher Milan, of course, because you have to, and my splashes, and like just like prep sketches, Burn the Midnight Oil, bunch of skills. Like it's good stuff, Seeker. There's nothing surprising there. My 5 splashes,
Yep, that's the question I want to know.
all Mystic. I have 2 denied.
Can I guess?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, no, you've got 2 deny existences. That wasn't going to be one of my guesses. I
Okay.
lose.
What were you gonna guess?
I was going to guess 2 wards, 2 delves, and doesn't Down the Rabbit Hole count as one of your 5?
It does, yeah.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. So I went with 2 denies because the thing I'm really worried about is the
Beyond the Void.
Yeah, Beyond the Veil.
Beyond the Veil. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yep.
I'm surprised you remember that, Sean, since you've gone through Dunwich so many times and just face planted into it.
Oh, right. That one thing that Dunwich does.
I'm gonna bring Patrice to Dunwich. I'm gonna bring a short supply deck to Dunwich.
Your impression is spot on.
Yeah. And then 2 Delve, 2 Deeps. So this is different than the first time we played because last time we packed 6 Delves. And I remember there was one scenario where we got 5 of them
Yep.
in that campaign.
I'm
but
pretty
now-
sure that was what got Delve put on the old taboo list.
Yeah, when we were calling
It was
Maxine over,
us.
come over here, look at this, look at our victory display. She just like rolled her eyes and walked away. I just remember that like,
Yep.
so.
God,
Yeah,
I'm gonna
so-
have to do something about that. You fucking munchkins.
So, yeah, we kind of had a quick discussion in our chat, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to be getting all these clues, and that's all I'm going to be doing. But I'm also going to be drawing cards because I'm Seeker, and so I can fit those delves in, and I'll just fire them off when need be, and then leave. So, yeah, and then all my upgrades are literally just upgrading the cards in my deck to make them better. So that's my upgrade path. The end.
That seems solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like now, God, with Scarlet Keys, like at least, well, okay, you haven't looked through all of them yet, but like there were a couple cards where I was like, oh, hey, a classic, upgraded, fantastic.
Yep.
Like Seeker's got good options for down the rabbit hole, oddly enough.
Yeah, it's huge. Like, and I think with the little XP that you get in Dunwich, down the rabbit hole is going to be a huge boon to the deck. And yeah, I'll be able to get those Eon Charts to like level 4, and yeah, it'll be interesting. So
Sure will.
yeah, Sean.
For my part, I have chosen a flex investigator. I'm going to be playing Dexter Drake. So
Dexter?
I mean, yeah, Flexter Drake. I don't think there's anything in particular like notable about this deck. It is kind of Mystic good stuff. I haven't quite landed on my spell suite yet. One thing I was going to ask is anyone bringing curses? Is anyone doing any blurse play?
Nope.
No, I actually had the draw 3 cards among any investigators at your place. It's 0 cost event, and you pay
Deep
2
knowledge?
curses. Deep knowledge? Yes.
Yeah.
I had that, but I changed it out. So no
For
curses.
what? Prep sketches?
Yeah, I went with prep sketches because I can upgrade it.
Because then you wouldn't have to share. I knew it. All right. I see
it's-
how it is.
I brought Crack the Case for all of you, so there you go.
Yeah. But yeah, so like any Dexter, I'm kind of between 2 builds at this point, and I should probably land on it at some point soon. But I'm probably gonna go somewhere in the direction of bouncing between my hand slots and my spell slots, so that way I always have options for what I'm bouncing out with his ability. When I initially started building, I had the ambition to use the replacements and use Molly, but ultimately where I'm landing is probably not. I'll just use the standards with showmanship because I don't know. Molly's really cool if you've got a build that can use her, but I don't think I'm smart enough to build such a build. But yeah, so I'm gonna be flexing in all sorts of directions and just taking care of whatever's necessary. Ian.
Well, I am. I kind of wanted to go with an old school investigator since we're rolling back the clock in terms of campaigns too. And I've been wanting to run this particular build for a while in an Iron Man, but it always feels like too high stakes. Whereas this feels a little lower stakes because it's Dunwich and it's not necessarily like one of the official Iron Mans. I say all that and watch us like lose Dunwich. That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'm running.
Out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm running Windy, and I'm doing Windy traps. Good old Home Alone Windy. And that idea was kind of percolating in my brain already. So imagine my joy when I was looking through the Scarlet Keys cards. and found there's a brand new trap. And not only is it a new trap, but it's a customizable trap. Ooh. So that kind of cemented it for me. I'm like, okay, I'm definitely gonna do this. So yeah, it's windy. It has some of the things you might expect when I talk about traps. I'm gonna use lure. I'm gonna use snare trap. I'm using under surveillance, even though that's not like a trap. Oh, it actually does have the trap trait. Never mind. It is a trap. So it's really gonna be enemy management in a certain way, like manipulating where enemies go and taking them out in different ways. And then I'm gonna be trying to get to Wendy's amulet so I can recur some of these traps. But then I also have my old friend Resourceful for some recursion too. So obviously Survivor has some ways of bringing traps back. So that's what I'm gonna be doing. And then all else fails, since Scott was telling us that he'll have clues on lockdown, I do have Ornate Bow in there too. So Wendy's going to be going full like hunter mode with traps and bow and just...
Oh god, what does Casey call his Bow Wendy deck?
Oh.
Shania Twang.
Oh, that was Rita deck. But yes,
that was
Shania,
Rita? Okay, never mind. Okay,
Shania Twang, though, is his bow deck name.
And the other kind of jank I have going on is there's a new card called Exploit Weakness in Scarlet Keys, which when you reduce the difficulty of a test to 0 if it's an attack or an evade, it automatically succeeds, and you can just straight up discard the enemy. So the way that I'm luring that is, one, the customizable trap, which is makeshift trap, lowers the evade value. And then I'm also including a little card called Stealth in here. Yield Stealth.
Hell yeah, Stealth!
To lower the difficulty as well. So, yeah, there's lots of jank going on. Who knows if it'll be any good, but it's Return to Dunwich Iron Man. We're going to roll with it. We'll see how it goes. But I'm super excited to run it because I love running flex decks, and I love running weird decks like this. So,
same.
Should
so
be
Ian,
good.
I have two quick questions.
Mm-hmm.
First one is for your customizable trap, because it is Iron Man and it's special, are you going to permanently mark one of the ones that came in the box?
Why are you doing this to me, Scott?
I know, right?
I mean, if there is any event on which to spend it, Ian.
I wasn't planning on it, but now that you're like putting it in those terms, I don't know. I can't answer on the spot. I have to think about it.
Okay, that's fair. And two, are you bringing Waylay by chance for the broods, or have you thought of?
I am, yeah. It's in my level 0 build. I was planning on upgrading out of it at some point, but it would probably be like after Undimensioned.
Yeah, because only one of them turns elite, I think. Because like there's 5 new broods.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. Anyway, I was just curious.
That sounds right.
It's one of those cards that like is, it's like Barricade in Horror and High Gear. It's just like, oh, this one undoes this one.
Yep.
Ian, I have a follow-up question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Every time you play a trap, are you going to say, "It's a trap"?
Or you can pog face and slap your cheeks and do Home Alone every time.
I'm not sure which one is worse / best.
Ian,
I mean, switch them up.
Or both at the same time.
I am going to bring a Star Wars CCG card of Admiral Akbar, and every time you play a trap, I'm going to windmill slam him onto the board.
I just can't believe that you got through your entire deck description without saying that, because I think at one point you did actually say it is a trap because you were describing the card, and I was just like, what's happening here?
Someone was asking in chat if I considered the parallel versions of Wendy. I did consider it. I decided to go OG, and who knows, maybe I would change it at the last minute, but I kind of wanted the original for like the mulligan aspect, but it was more so that I was a little bit worried about the front side with 4 players of whether we would whether I would be able to manipulate the curses enough to make it work satisfactorily, but I don't know. If someone else has run it in 4-player and has ideas of how well it can work, potentially I could change it at the last minute.
Big Kahuna
feel
points out that this is actually a 2 a.m. conversation that we need to
Yes.
have.
Did I make a mistake going, oh,
Yeah,
gee.
guys.
Let's get ahead of ourselves here. So I
Justin.
think that leaves us, with Justin.
Yes, and I am actually going to only be doing a half Iron Man. Nick and I are going to be swapping seats every other scenario, or some variant of that, basically each playing half of it, because Nick only departed a little while ago, so we'll still let him be our friend and hang out, I guess.
I guess.
But
Says
also
he's gonna be there.
Yeah. Also, I will need some time to do some of my administratomancing stuff. So it naturally works out well. But because of that, I'm actually going to let Scott talk about my deck, because I have asked him to build it for me because I am short on time. And so he is building the initial deck, and then he and Nick are going to work on what the upgrade path looks like. So
Yeah,
Scott, take it away.
So I asked Justin, like, hey, Justin, what do you want to do? And you're like, well, I don't usually play the murderer, so make me a killing deck. And asked for Nacho, which I was like, oh, yeah, I'll make you Nacho deck. I love Nacho. So I'm going for a gun-based Nathaniel. I'm just kidding. He's got boxing gloves. He does Nacho things. Hallowed Mirrors in there because decent healing. We'll talk about this, but we're going to go with House Always Wins first to try and get Morgan, the ally, for your deck, because it draws cards every time you kill something. Got 2 safeguards in there because why not? In the thick of it to upgrade a single get over here, and then actually banking the 3rd XP in order to speed up getting get over here upgraded, as well as the boxing gloves. So I'd rather bank that XP for you and then have that be more efficient than just picking something one at random. Get over here in Dunwich for Whippoorwills is insane, especially the upgraded one. So it's fast. You engage and fight the Whippoorwill from up to 2 locations away, which is really funny to think about. A boxer from just running fist first 2 locations away to punch a bird right in his stupid beak.
Punch!
Yeah. So, I mean, there's 16 events in there, 8 skills. Like, I don't know what else. It's a Nacho deck, and it's just going to be good stuff Nacho. So
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. I think that's one of the things I told you too when we settled on Nacho being the investigator is I've played him before. I've enjoyed it and built for him, but I would love to see what you would do with it, how you would build it, because you are so much deeper into the game than I am. So I'm curious to see how it goes.
I think the key thing too is this is like when I build for Iron Man, it's usually I'm not doing like weird stuff usually, because come scenario 6, 7, 8, like I'm gonna be tired, and we're all gonna be tired. And when your deck just kind of fires on its own, where it's just like, oh, I play this yellow card, oh, I play this blue card, like it makes it a lot easier to play and continue to stay a bit fresh. So there's nothing crazy. Big Kahuna, handcuffs. I guess there's enough humanoids in Dunwich. Might be an interesting one. I'll consider it. Yeah. I will consider it. Yeah, so those are our decks. Shall we talk about...
It seems like a good team.
Yeah.
Like pairing, I mean, is it just going to be Nacho and Rex and then the Flexies off doing what they do?
I feel
Is that how it's going to roll?
Yeah, but you know what? The maps in Dunwich aren't that huge, too.
That's true.
Right? Like, it's... Yeah.
Like, you're generally only like 1 or 2 scenarios away from any others. 1 or 2 locations away from any other location.
Yeah. So Iron
All right,
Man...
so tell us how we're going to maneuver.
So Iron Man strategy. This one's actually going to be surprisingly quick because it is Dunwich. So there's a few choices in Dunwich and a few key kind of story beats. that matter. So there's your big choice in the beginning is choosing House Always Wins first or extracurricular activity, and you can only get the story ally from the first one you play. So we're going House Always Wins first because we want Dr. Morgan. House Always Wins is also more RNG dependent because of how you get clues with like the gambling and all that stuff. So having some extra time because you lose an agenda in whichever one you play second makes it quicker and stuff. So it gives us more time in the speakeasy to get through there. We have the possibility of getting an extra, I can't remember if it's a tablet or an elder thing, if we cheat. So we are not going to cheat. Because if we cheat one time, we get that token for the rest of the campaign, and that token is absolutely terrible, both of them. The tablet and the elder thing. Like it is not worth it at all. The only treachery we'll have to watch out for is the one that you choose. Someone has to lose 5 resources, or the investigators cheat, or you've taken a drink or something. Like there's a choice there. But
raise the stakes.
Yes, that's the one. So yeah, and then we just need to get Morgan out, and we'll grab him. After that, we go to extracurricular activity, which all we have to do is save the students, or else we get a token. So we're not trying to rescue anybody. Like, we just need to get to the dormitories, find Jazz Mulligan, the heaviest card in Arkham. It's a lot easier on 4 players. Yes.
Yeah, 4 players is like the best place to be. 2 players is the worst.
Yeah.
Just FYI, Hazel.
Yeah. So Philion brings up the tablet and the elder thing in the last scenario. So the tablet's -3. If Yogg-Sothoth is in play, it attacks you after the skill test. Just period. Not if you fail, just it attacks you. And the elder thing is -X. X is the shroud value of location. If you fail and your location is extra dimensional, discard it. And that sends you all the way back to the beginning.
Yeah.
Like, it's just...
That's a killer.
They're terrible.
Yeah. Both of those are really bad.
This is how you lose the last scenario. Is having those things in the bag. So save the students. As long as we don't become unconscious in either of those scenarios, which happens when you lose, we get Armitage in the interlude. And he's decent. Draws cards. He's also an unexpected courage. So,
yep.
We move on
in a meat suit, right? That's the old meme.
Yeah. So we move on to Miskatonic Museum. We have a choice here at the beginning of the scenario. You can either get into the museum by investigating and spending clues, or you can get in by breaking the door down. So if you investigate in, you then get this story ally who's a security guard who's like 2 and 2, like 2 health, 2 sanity. If he dies, you get a token.
Adam.
Yeah. And I forget if it's token or either
tablet.
Tablet or elder thing. They're both bad. You get
It's
one
a
of those.
tablet.
Okay. But if you break the door down, and Justin, this will be your time to shine. If you're able to punch the door down, 1, it's a single test, and 2, you scare Adam away, and you don't have to babysit him. So, Justin, you are going to punch the ever-loving crap out of that door, just so you know.
But what if I like the door?
You don't. The door is a terrible person.
But the door and I were meant to be together.
So, kick down the door, and then the final place we can get a token is when we finally get to the Necronomicon, we need to burn it. Because, 1, it's not that good of a card.
Yeah.
And 2, it's not worth a token. So, unfortunately, we need to burn it.
I think they were trying to emulate Magnum Opus from Netrunner, which was iconic at the time, but I don't think it translated exactly like they wanted it to.
Big Kahuna, yeah, it's good if you're Daisy. That's fair, because it's a tome, and that, the free action for sure, yes.
That's true.
And in a simpler time when the card pool was smaller, then it was more tempting, I think.
Yeah.
And
I was
now
thinking that...
Scott would call it overrated.
Sure would. Called it overrated back then, though, too. one thing I thought about talking of card pool and like just difficulty now going back is I remember trying to rescue Morgan in House Always Wins was really
Yeah.
difficult back then.
Uh-huh.
And I think it was also because at that point I didn't fully realize like the attack of opportunities that you can have with like if you just go in and grab him and like we each have a person and we just walk to the back
And just
door and leave
march out.
and just take the hits. It's like, okay, well, it's not going to kill me, so it doesn't matter. Like it just
I'm curious what percentage of my games of House Always Wins have ended with me taking opportunity attacks on the way
Right.
out. I think it's a substantial percentage.
and it's just this mentality shift of playing back then versus playing now and understanding
sure.
the values in the game. You know what I mean? It's just as a side note, and something like with TFA teaching us like what the value of trauma is, right? Like and now this with the what's the value of a attack of opportunity. Anyways, I'll stop ranting, but like the decks, everyone's deck is like in the thick of it, like 2 trauma for 3 XP. Hell yeah, if that came out in Dunwich,
Get it.
I'd be like, oh god.
Yeah, for real. Like,
A quick aside, who's taking in the thick of it? I'm just curious.
I have it in my deck, and I have it in Justin's deck.
I
have it
haven't
in my deck.
yet. I haven't yet, but you know, it's just because I haven't finalized the deck list yet. Let me get there.
Yeah,
It could be a clean sweep, probably.
Yeah.
yeah, quite possibly.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
You can keep going.
I still think it's balanced, though. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't think it needs
Yes.
any adjustment. Like it's just
No, I think to your point,
I don't think
is-
trauma is nothing. It's
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
you have to think
but we
about it.
we were overly afraid of it in the
Yeah.
past. I think was your point,
yes,
and I fully agree.
and TFA taught us that lesson.
Mm-hmm.
That you know what, you can still finish with 5 trauma. That's okay.
You remember how butthurt we were about being taught that lesson?
Yeah,
The gentle lesson of a baseball bat to the face.
I mean, no one enjoys a red ass, but at least you learned a lesson.
okay. Speaking of red ass, Essex County Express.
I mean, some people enjoy a red ass. If that's your thing,
Yeah,
that's on you.
Hey, I still like Essex County Express, so there you go. So this is where you get a -3 in the bag because reasons, on standard. Go fast or die trying. Honestly, that's what you got to do. If you do die, you get a weakness. It's the special campaign weakness, but you do get an extra XP. But then your story allies get kidnapped, so that sucks. Because we don't have the Necronomicon, because we burnt it, we also don't have to worry about the Necronomicon getting taken. So, first Dunwich Iron Man, this was over in like 4 turns.
I know.
I don't think we
so
moved
fast.
Yeah, we didn't move from the first car because we just got dog. It was stupid. It was
I'm pretty sure we drew like acolyte, wizard, and then it's like, all right, well, we're just done now because
That's what it was.
every agenda just pops now.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we can't get to that wizard fast enough.
yeah. The wizard was like 3
Yeah.
locations away. It was ridiculous.
I was just realizing as we were talking, this is going to be my first time playing through Dunwich in 4-player.
Well,
So
get ready to get
because
rocked.
I wasn't part of that original Iron Man, so yeah, some of these scenarios I have not. Like I know Essex County Express, especially in the higher player counts, can spiral in ways that it doesn't in solo and 2-player. So I've never really experienced. On the other hand, I know the return version does try to counter
Soften
that
it.
a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, Essex
As
County
best
Express.
it can.
It's gonna happen. And yeah, we just see if we can survive it. Always take the luggage.
Yep.
'Cause- Yep. That's red herring. Blood on the Altar. I think one of the better, like one of the best designs of a scenario. Personally, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Running around the city. If you have a non-unique ally out and you get the kidnapped treachery, try to fail it, because getting a non-unique enemy or non-unique ally, in that deck of sacrifices, like you might draw that one for a sacrifice, and then you just put it back in your deck afterwards because it's not unique.
Yeah, but Yeah, but it's my ally.
Well, okay, but like I mean, if it's very important to what's going on, sure. But yeah, if you can waste one, it's a little bit of tech there for you.
That's solid.
You get to the end and you have to choose either you're gonna kill Silas or clue him to death, or you release him or whatever the story about that is. Cluing is better, I think, because if you kill him with damage, you get a conglomeration of spheres starting in where Doom awaits at the top of the hill, and you also get the conglomeration of spheres set in the encounter deck. So if you can clue him to death, that is preferable to killing him.
You mean if you can clue him to death, Scott?
Which I will, yes. I'm just saying we need to work
Also,
as a team.
Blood on the Altar, I feel like, is the reverse of Essex, where 4-player you really can pull it off easier, like those kind of things, being able to lock down Silas, just keep evading him, 1-player.
Yeah,
well,
exactly.
me basically, and then it'll just be keep going from there.
Interlude happens, a bunch of story, and if you have any unsacrificed professors, you get the powder of Ibn Ghazi, and you also get them back into your deck because they're all kidnapped and whatnot, or any of the kidnapped.
Oh, that's right. This is the charisma campaign, isn't it?
Sure is.
You get an ally, and you get an ally.
Yeah.
What is our general? Sorry to back up just a little bit, but what is our general strategy for Silas if you're going to clue him out? Like, is Ian just going to dodge tank? Is that what's happening?
Either dodge tank.
Probably.
Dodge tank only once or twice. Like you don't need that much. I mean, I'm Clover Rex. I'm just gonna be hoovering clues. So yeah, I think just keeping whippoorwills out of there, and then Ian dodging Silas. Even if I have to take a hit from Silas, like again, as long as I don't die, it's fine. So
right. I assume both of your trauma were mental for In the Thick of It.
Yes.
Okay. Got it.
Because I have Dr. Milan too, as a little more so stuff. Okay. So, Undimensioned Unseen. Everyone gets a madness, injury, or pact weakness. Just because.
Yay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Bring extra weaknesses, y'all. We're not going to draw that one for you.
Yeah.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that. Thanks. That's actually a very key reminder. We should put that at the beginning.
Yes. So the outcome of Blood on the Altar determines how many broods you get. The better you do in Blood on the Altar, the harder Undimensioned is Unseen, and vice versa.
Yeah.
I feel like this scenario, depending on how you do, and I'll kind of go back to this near the end, but Blood on the Altar, you kind of want to do mediocre, like maybe let a couple sacrifices through, because then you have like only an average amount of broods, and then honestly it can be entirely skippable as a scenario, like besides going to grab some XP and maybe killing a couple broods. So any brood that does escape to the wild does put a Doom on the first agenda of where Doom awaits, so that's something to consider. But if we're running short on time, which I don't think we will be, this scenario is one that if you want to strategically, if you don't care too much about the special allies, do just bad enough in Blood on the Altar. Like just sit there and let them sacrifice like one clue from being finished or whatever, and then just finish out, and then you could skip this scenario and just take a single Doom on the next scenario. So,
Wow.
Options. I think that'll be very much a game time decision, but
Yeah, for sure. I remember playing this as solo Finn before, and I think it was like a second or third turn resign. I'm out of here.
I mean, our lowest willpower is 3, so we're not doing bad for this.
Yeah,
scenario.
we're pretty strong on willpower.
Yep. We get to where Doom awaits. Sean's favorite scenario.
I mean, return is fine.
Yeah. He's still taking a mystic into this thing, but whatever. You do you. Standard
Return is fine.
Yeah. Standard, you get a -5 again for reasons, none of which are given.
Uh-huh.
You get the doom for the escaped broods on the starting there, and then you would get a conglomeration of spheres if you killed Silas. The Silas that comes out if you haven't killed him,
Seth.
Seth, sorry, is different depending on what you did with Silas, and if you have the Necronomicon or not. I didn't look into it because it really doesn't matter. It's like a matter.
He has a half damage already. If
Yeah.
he has half damage for one of them, and then if you have the Necronomicon, he can automatically die.
Yeah, but he's not that tough of an enemy if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a 5 fight. I think is his biggest thing. He just doesn't have a ton of health for a boss.
Yeah, he's got was it 2 eye or 3 eye health? 2 per
3 eye.
3 eye? Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, where
So-
Dooms awaits is mostly just a race to. It's more about getting to the summit than what
Yeah.
happens there.
So yeah, R1 or death. That's our choices there. And then Lost in Time and Space. I'm going to print out a map for us to use or have a little guide on our phone for which locations we need to get where. And it's basically use a map, go fast. If anyone wants to, when you're upgrading for the last scenario, grab an I'm out of here if you can, because that last location, it has a resign thing, and it requires you to have clues there. But I'm out of here allows you to resign if there's a resign action in the game, so you can skip the cost of the clues. It's a neat little thing. So there's a little tricky card to use.
Okay, I'll go ahead and pack that in my quiver.
Yeah. Yeah. Right? Honestly, for going in the last scenario, it's 2 XP to just slip in 2 copies of a card that allow you to just resign when one person gets to that location. And we can all be like, cool, out, gone. Right? It's a neat little idea. So, I plan to do it, and I'll turn my delves into I'm out of here's. So, it'll cost me 4 XP, but whatever. Yeah. So our overall strategy: House always wins first. Get Morgan, no cheating. Save the students. Break into the museum and burn the book. Try not to die on the train. Do as mediocre as possible in Blood on the Altar. Use clues to deal with Silas. Deal with broods as we see fit. And then don't die in Where Doom Awaits, and don't die in Lost in Time and Space. And that's Dunwich.
Twas a simpler time.
Yeah.
Sounds totally doable.
Yeah. I mean, I don't even know if this campaign has a guys, did we make a mistake going
Yeah.
option.
I don't even
I
see a
mean-
single flow chart.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll know by Saturday morning, won't
I was
we?
gonna say there's no way to know until we're too late
Until-
to change it.
2 a.m. on Saturday, yeah. Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Well, Ian, I'm glad you get to actually do this one as an Iron Man because I know you missed it the
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah.
And Justin, you too, of course, but I know you've missed more than one.
Yep.
You participated in one. Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
guess 2. You played in one.
I
should say.
have played in one. I have done my
Definitely participated
I
in
have
another.
done my administratomancy for the other,
right.
and it's a nice blend for me.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a really good time. Don't forget your extra weaknesses.
Yep. Well, bring your entire collection of weaknesses.
Well,
Because
yes.
if you're doing the drawing of the weakness with it, because you'll draw from our deck, and then you just go grab that one from your collection.
Speaking of
also-
weaknesses, are there any weaknesses that you all are not wanting to see for your particular decks?
Either of the 2, like the Doomed or was it the price you offer you can't refuse?
Yeah, those two are rough.
Um,
Is anyone packing healing?
Nacho has the mirror,
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
and
That's solid.
honestly, Nacho's I think Get Over Here, Boxing Gloves, Safeguard, then Hallowed Mirror could be an easy upgrade path.
Sure.
You can fit Hollowed Mirror somewhere in there.
Oh
But-
yeah. I was just thinking of like Panic and what's the other one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those weaknesses.
Those ones scare me unless we've got options for healing. So
Yes.
not particularly looking. I mean, and those in the Carcosa ones also give me some pause because you get the wrong Carcosa one in a deck, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I got the wrong one for that. I got the killing
Yeah,
deal
you got
excess damage.
bloodthirst for Min, right?
Ursula.
Ursula.
Yeah. I just drew slower, and like I mean, but that was also TFA. TFA hands out XP like it's going out of style.
Mm-hmm.
So
I find myself once again dreading Amnesia. Here I am again. In addition to always dreading it because with like a trap build, you're usually trying to like hold on to traps when you can play them at the optimal time. So it's the kind of thing that Amnesia would just wreck.
Yeah, and either
But-
way with Dexter, I'm generally going to be hopefully rocking good options in my hand, so Amnesia would suck for me. I just think Amnesia is one of the worst weaknesses overall, because like on the surface you say something like, oh well, Paranoia hits resources, Amnesia hits hand size and cards, so they're roughly equal, but they're super not.
they are super not. Yep.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then the other thing is we went through the whole thing without talking once about Beyond the Veil. Any concerns about Beyond the Veil?
I mean, I'm packing Deny Existences. I don't know about you guys.
Can you remind me what that is?
The gum cover.
It's basically when you get it in front of you. It's a treachery that you put in front of you, and when your deck runs out, you take 10 damage. So
Well, that's not good.
The signature treachery of Dunwich.
Nacho could actually like tank that. There's if you have an ally out, that is not unreasonable to tank.
Yeah, but you put
I mean-
2 Delay the Inevitables in his deck, though, right?
Oh yeah, we're gonna put delayed inevitable. There.
Okay.
The other thing too is Ian, you were gonna bring.
Alter Fate. Yeah,
That's the
I
one.
do have that in my upgrade
Yeah.
path. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So
There's a few annoying treacheries that hang out in threat areas in Dunwich, but yeah, it's mostly for Beyond the Veil.
I mean, we went through that whole thing, not mentioning Beyond the Veil. We're pulling a Sean impression. So
No, I only get into the first one before I'm like very, very abruptly reminded
yeah,
that Beyond the Veil exists.
I am suddenly very aware of this treachery.
You know what it is? It is always like the second I throw down the Miskatonic quad specifically, I'm like, oh, right.
Like, wait a minute. I mentioned it to you guys, but my initial idea was I was gonna run Winnie through Dunwich, and then I did remember that Beyond the Veil exists. I'm sure there would be ways to counter it, but I just don't want to put that out into the world, so instead I went Winnie.
That seems fair.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really need to land on a build. That's my biggest. It's okay. So all right. So Ian and Scott just left, but I'm between 2 right now. So part of me wants to use a bunch of the new Mystic cards that came out and do like a hand slot only Dexter. So like you're still doing Dexter things, but you're just using hand slots with the sickle and the dowsing rod, and then all the rogue stuff you have access to, and you're just hand slots, and you're keeping your arcane slots open, and doing that. And then the other one I had was a haste build with basically just with Sixth Sense and Wither, and using haste to like pull extra advantage out of those when you need to, and doing all of your Dexter shenanigans out of your hand slots. I don't know. I still have to flesh both out and see how it goes. Do any of those seem like either of those seem like a trap to you?
I wouldn't say a trap. I have run the hasty Dexter, and it worked really well. So I definitely think that could work. I have not tried the I was gonna say handsy Dexter, but that's just not it's not a good look for Dexter.
I mean,
but the hand slot Dexter, I've not run that build, but it doesn't seem like a trap to me. I
no,
think
it's just untested ground, so I'm like very nervous to bring it into an Iron Man. I haven't had a chance to like really play this deck yet. But yeah, like Astral Mirror with just a ton of hand slots in Dexter seems like it could be a real good time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
think that's the way I'm leaning at the moment.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the mind, like, similar to how I approached the Windy, like, now's the time to run a kind of experimental build, I think, because you're never going to do it in an official Iron Man.
Yeah, but I don't want Scott to yell at me in any Iron Man.
Well, I'm not gonna yell at you.
It'll be fine.
You might yell at him.
I'll give you stern looks, but you know,
Yeah, the Canadian yell.
tisk tisk.
Canadian screaming.
Yeah.
Well, excellent. So look forward to seeing everyone there. Again, if you can't join at Arkham Nights in person, we do encourage, and there are already a ton of people who are planning on playing it virtually. So if you'd like to find a group, just let us know, or rather click the link, and that's one of the options, and we'll hook you up. So boys, I think it's time to explore some tentacles, perhaps. Scott, what's been grabbing you lately?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just this little game I used to play.
Austin
chess.
Powers LCG.
Chess, actually. Well, it's been Star Wars CCG. Have you guys heard about the cheating scandal in chess? In like professional
I have,
chess?
yes.
Yeah.
Which one?
I
The butt
sent you
plug one?
Yeah, I think I sent you the article.
Yeah, it's the butt plug one. Yeah, that's been fun to follow. Basically, this guy was accused of cheating, and he has cheated before online, but this game was over the board. And the current world champion, who is by some people considered to be the best chess player that's ever lived, he basically said, he's like, I'm pretty sure he was cheating in our game. And he's like, I'm not sure how he did it, but there was cheating. And it's turned this huge scandal. And because of his history of cheating, everyone's like believing Magnus, the world champion. The other guy's name is Hans, the cheater. And it's just been a big thing. And at one point, someone suggested that he may be using vibrating anal beads to get signals from somebody.
Okay, so that's conjecture that blew up into a meme.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, because that's
Alright,
the best like clickbait headline.
Yeah.
I was about to say, okay, well, damn, I'm guilty of being part of the problem then, because I did not realize that. No.
So Big Kahuna is asking, how do you cheat at chess? So one of the key things about so there's chess computers. Chess computers are more powerful than humans will ever be now. Even Magnus, the world champion, will lose to a chess computer on his phone at the highest strength. Like that's the power of chess computers now. And so the way you would cheat at chess, if you're playing online, obviously just open a tab and just have a chess computer on the other one. And that's often how they do that. Or they'll run it on a different computer with a monitor beside it so that other computer can't tell that you're, you know what I mean, using it, whatever. Over the board. So the thing is, like at our level of chess, like if we were to play chess, we'd have to cheat for, if I wanted to play against someone really well, I would have to cheat a lot to do that. When you're at this level of Grandmaster and this chess understanding, the idea is basically you only need to cheat for 2 or 3 moves in critical positions, and that's enough for you to carry the rest of the game. And so in these longer games, like classical games that are like 2 to 3 hours, like you might have time of thinking and stuff like that. And there has been cheating before where people send signals, like coaches will be on the other end of the room with a chess computer on their phone, and they'll somehow signal to their player. There's been like wireless earbud communication before, stuff like that. And so there's been conjecture about things like having a device in your shoe that would vibrate on your toe, and you have buttons that you could input. And so you could actually talk out and then someone could input, and you would get that through a vibration on your toe or something. And that's where the idea of vibrating anal beads came from. Is that
Because that's of course the logical next step.
it just, but I mean, like, so okay, so now the World U.S. Championship has started, and Hans is playing in it, and they've amped up security because of this. So normally, when you go into a chess hall, like one of these tournaments, your phone gets taken. Like you can't get your phone, and like there's a designated bathroom that you can use, whatever. But you can't leave the play area without a judge, or without losing your game sometimes. And then they also have like those, at the airport, the scanning wands for metal. Like they'll scan people. Like that's very normal to look for stuff. So this recent one today, or was it yesterday? Basically, I have a new scanning one that checks for like RFID signals, because some of these things now, like grains of rice, are bigger than some of the tech people are using to communicate now, right? And so those old wands won't work. So now they have some scanning advice. But Hans Niemann was the only one that the scanner asked to turn around so he could scan his butt. And this is on video. I mean, like you see the security guard, like he scans this one person, okay, scans the next person, okay, Hans comes up, scans the front. Sir, can you turn around, please?
I thought you were gonna say they introduced bending and coughing, but
no, not quite. But he did like bring this like right across the butthole. It was just,
oh my gosh.
oh yeah. So
I did read in one of the articles, I don't know if it's true, that part of this, like, people like analyzed his moves and it was like a high correlation with the moves an AI would make, and that's where like the
and there is
part of where the brouhaha was coming from.
There's part of it. The issue with that is there are so many times that grandmasters will just play at that level. Like they're able to like stand toe to toe with a computer for a bit. Do you know what I mean? And so that, like, in a single game as a single piece of data, that's kind of hard, because there's been a lot of uproar about this, right? And I think people want him to be guilty because they want.
There's been a lot of buzz.
Yeah, right. And they and like this is that kind of buzz. God. Yeah.
Chess is so spicy now.
Yeah. So, like, for instance, in the World Championship last year with Magnus and Jan, one of their games was the most accurate game played in the World Championship ever, where one of them played 99.7% accurate and one of them played 99.8% accurate. So, like, they were 99, one of them was 99.8, it was Magnus, accurate compared to a computer, right? So chess grandmasters are capable of that sometimes.
I guess it's tough too, because presumably someone could be like studying with an AI or studying the moves that an AI would make. So like, how could you separate? Like, are they just like playing the moves that they studied, or So I guess it's kind of tough.
Well, and one of the other things that's come up here is it's not just the play, but Magnus finally had to speak up because he wasn't saying much, and so I mean, I think a lot of people would just naturally trust his word because he's been so consistently good. But the thing he has since noted is that it seemed like Hans wasn't even a little nervous, or there was no anxiety across the board. And at this level, even the most practiced grandmasters, they're so intense with it and so focused. Everyone is anxious. It's not like someone's just sitting there being like, well, I'm a rock star and I'm just going to happen to move here. No big deal. Like that's not a thing. And that it sounds like not quite to that extreme, but it seems like a little bit of that was potentially going on. But again, I think to Scott's point, it sounds like a lot of the chess community wants him to have cheated.
But also, like, he has a history of cheating.
Right.
And like he's admitted it. And then chess.com did they just released their study yesterday, a 72-page report, and they're like, actually, we went with our chess detection software, which is super advanced, that goes over all their online games, and is usually quite accurate, because they'll show grandmasters and be like, you cheated here, and they'll be like, yeah, I did. And they're like, Hans has probably cheated on about 100 times, they think.
Wow.
And he's admitted to twice. So, and like, the thing is, we'll never know in this circumstance because there's no way to prove it now. Right? Like,
yeah, I was about to say, it's like all conjecture.
You'd have to capture the tech somehow. And yeah, it's like, it's based off of Magnus saying, like, he just wasn't in it. Like, he wasn't concentrating during critical positions the way a normal chess player would. And he's played against him before, right? And he's like, he was acting different. And also, he's not as good as Magnus. Like, no one is. And he beat Magnus with the black pieces. Like, chess is ever so slightly imbalanced. If we're playing chess, black or white doesn't matter. At that level of chess, it does. Like, it's like 0.5% difference. That 0.5% is substantial.
Yeah, if a 0.01% accuracy made a difference before. I mean, I know it's a different percentage, but
yeah, like that, it just, at that level, it matters.
The color may be the end all to bead all.
Oh my god.
Oh, brought it home.
Oh,
Justin, what's been grabbing you?
That hits deep.
Oh no. Hopefully just deep enough.
So it's appropriate for tentacle time that I have returned to Returnal. Was not planning on doing that, and then had a buddy of ours who finally got a PS5, and so I was repeatedly telling him to play Returnal, and he still hasn't yet, and I have. So I am into it.
He's still working through Elden Ring. He'll get there.
I know. No, since I had played it, they released DLC, so there's now a 2-player mode. I've not got to try that yet, but there is a additional single-player bit of content called the Tower of Sisyphus, and it is it's a variant of what the main game is, and it's an endless mode. So it's pretty cool. It adds a bunch of story. Strongly recommend it for anyone who is into Returnal. And then I have also played a little bit of Hades, because I had been playing that and then had stopped to play Returnal. And then we got another buddy of ours into Hades, and so then, of course, I jumped back because it's just so good.
Man, I have to be close to being done with Hades, but I'm not there yet, and it's so fun. Like, there's no shine that has gone off of it at all. What a good game.
Yeah. I enjoy every once in a while. You can modify the difficulty and the extra stuff the game throws at you. Every once in a while, just turning it all the way down or close to all the way down and burning through to remember what that was like. And it's really great. Again, if you haven't played that yet, at least give it a try.
Yeah.
And I think that has mainly been it. My free time has been a little limited, but with it, I have got to those things.
Nice. Well, Ian, I'll let you close us out, so I'll go next. I've been playing a little bit of Hades. I think I mentioned last time that I started God of War back up. I'm almost done with that. I have 2 Valkyrie left, and they're the worst ones. So, but anyway, really, really, really enjoying God of War. Super pumped for Ragnarok. I've barely watched any previews or gameplays. I'm going into that super. I was going to say blind, but I know we kind of talk about that being lightly ableist. So, like, what? Unprepared, I guess. Unaware, naive. Unspoiled. Sure, let's go with that. So super excited for that. But the main thing that I want to talk about is the thing that's been making me do the unfaithful boyfriend meme. Even when Arkham has had a giant expansion just drop. And that's Mutant Genesis. Oh my god, I have been so amped for the X-Men expansion to Champions since it was released, or since it was announced, and I have been on an X-Men kick in anticipation. I ended up, as I sleeved everything, I ended up doing a complete reorganization of my Marvel cards. So it was one of those things where you start one project and then that leads to another project and then you don't get to play that night. And yeah, so I did that for like 2 nights, and then I finally got to play it, and I have been having a really good time with at least the heroes. I'm saving the campaign scenarios themselves for when you guys get here.
Yay.
But I've been playing around with the new heroes. They're really fun. Colossus and Cyclops absolutely destroyed. I mean, it's Rhino with some spicy mods, but just kind of as a tester, just absolutely blew through it. And then Shadowcat and Phoenix have been having a little bit more of a little bit slower of a game. I'm having a real fun time with Shadowcat. Timing her phasing in and out is exactly what you want it to be. It's really fun. And then Phoenix, I have to say, this was the highlight for me so far. So I kind of flew through sleeving the cards. I didn't really read all of the cards as I was sleeving them, and I've been reading them as I'm playing for the most part, and kind of getting familiar with it that way, because I'm just playing with the precons right now.
Right.
So I am just going about my merry way with Phoenix, and I go into unleashed mode, and I'm just like destroying things as you do. And then her obligation hops out of the deck.
Uh-oh.
And I didn't realize, because I saw obviously that her signature weakness set is Dark Phoenix, and like we talked about this a little bit, back when it was announced. She's this big villainous minion that brings in a like 12 threat side scheme. It's a big deal when Dark Phoenix comes out. She's nasty. I only thought that she would come out like most nemesis via Shadow of the Past, because I didn't read the preview article closely enough. So anyway, Phoenix's obligation hops out. I'm in unleashed mode, and I could not stop it. Suddenly, I'm looking down the barrel of Dark Phoenix, and then Shadowcat got hers, and we went from like a very even game to suddenly being like super behind the 8 ball. And I'm sitting here playing this game, having like a legitimate, in my own feelings, holy shit moment that like Jean in all her power suddenly like went off the chain. I had the X-Men animated series playing in the background, and it was absolutely. And oh man, it was just such a fun time. I still have that game in progress. I don't know what's going to happen, but it took me like 2 full turns to get the board back under control. Oh, having such a good time with it.
I think we ended up spending an hour the other night when you and I met up to get that, talking just about what other X-Men would you want to see in the game? What would you, what comics would you want to read to augment it? So can confirm you are quite deep down the rabbit hole.
Yep. Oh man. I'm so excited. I really I'm excited to play with you guys, obviously. I'm crazy excited for Wolverine and Storm to drop. I'm really interested to see what else they do with this. I hope we get a second X-Men themed box, if not like an X-Force themed box. Like, give me like Cable and Domino in the next box, please.
I'm still waiting for the Howard the Duck
expansion. Oh my. Howard, that is a pull. I always forget that is technically a Marvel character.
Technically
Sounds like a
Marvel.
good project for homebrew.
Yeah,
sure does.
It
But
could
anyway,
come out like
so-
a Barkham, right?
I mean,
For like
Or
Ducks
like
Unlimited.
Spider-Ham was pretty freaking silly overall. Then that's
Yeah.
just kind of the character, right? Like they could do Howard the Duck.
Yeah.
Or they could just do
So-
another Barkham instead.
I mean,
true.
yes, Barkham 2, please. Electric Boogaloo. So when
Yeah.
we play this campaign, do you guys have in mind who you'd like to play?
I'm okay. Like I was kind of thinking, and I think I mentioned this. I have a Spider-Man protection deck that I know it's not X-Men, but where basically my whole turn I play it during the Mythos phase, like the enemy phase, because all I do is I just cancel things and block things and stun things so that everyone else at the table can just stay in hero form as long as possible. And that's just what I do. And like when it comes to like my turn in the normal thing, I'm like, yeah, I have no cards left in my hand. I spent them all. So
Now go.
yeah, be free. So
Well, that's fun. Ian, did you want to lay claim to anyone in particular?
It's tough. I could see playing any of them really, so it might be a game day decision.
All right. Justin,
Yeah.
anyone in particular
No,
you want to pick
I-
for a spin?
Same as Ian. I will definitely play one of the X-Men. I don't know, maybe,
For sure.
yeah, maybe Shadowcat. That
I'm
seems
having
to,
a real fun time with her.
yeah, she seems to speak to just the way I play games in general.
Yeah. Cool. I'm feeling Phoenix at the moment. You guys know me. I'm into my caster chicks. But Colossus was surprisingly fun. I really did enjoy what he's got going on. And if I have to spend like even fewer of his tough cards on defending because Scott's around, then he's just going to be a wrecking ball. So I don't know. I'm leaning either Phoenix or Colossus, probably. Maybe Cyclops. I don't know. All right. Well, I guess we'll decide all of those on the day. Anyway, look forward to far more Marvel Busters as the X-Men stuff continues to drop, because I am just vibing on it really hard.
What about chess anal beads busters? Should I keep a weekly?
I'm vibing on those pretty hard.
I mean, that sounds like a real good plug for the new sidecast.
Oh,
Gonna be my main cast.
oh boy.
Ian, bring us home, baby.
It's a tough act to follow. I've had a few things. One is I've been playing a ton of Spirit Island, which I've mentioned on the cast before. But in addition to being one of my favorite games, it might even be my favorite non-Arkham game right now. But one of the things that helps me get so many games in is that it has a nice automated app, which makes it really easy to get lots of games in. So I play a lot on there in addition to actually playing on the tabletop. So yeah, I love Spirit Island. It just hits all the right buttons for me as a game. Other than that, been been watching a little show called Rings of Power. I've really been enjoying that one as a big Tolkien fan. Obviously it's divisive, but Jesus, what show or movie is not divisive these days? Like it's just yeah. I don't even want to go into it because it just is annoying to me.
Some
but
people
yeah.
are looking for a fight nowadays, it seems.
Yeah, imagine that. And I have zero problem with people not liking the show because they legitimately don't like the show, but it's a different thing when people decide ahead of time that they're just not going to like it before it even comes out and then just find more and more reasons. Anyway, I personally have quite enjoyed it. I like what they're doing with it, and I like the pace of it, and also kind of that coming out, and also them releasing campaign cards for the Angmar campaign in Lord of the Rings LCG has kind of inspired me to delve back into Lord of the Rings LCG, so I've been playing that as well.
Angmar, you say?
Lord of the Rings, you say? What is this new devilry? We might have to try to fit some LOTR in. I know this visit's probably going to go like even faster than most because we're at Arkham Nights the whole time. But if we can squeak in a game of LOTR, I won't be sad about it. I still have not played the Dreadnought scenario.
I still haven't played it either.
What, Ian?
Oh,
Me neither.
What even are we doing?
don't know. Yeah, if we could find time to play it, I don't know if we will. I'm kind of skeptical, but that would be great. Yeah.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we look forward to seeing everyone at Arkham Nights. Y'all be safe, have fun, and we'll check in with you after it's done. Thanks for joining us for 139.